My ex demanded child support for a kid that is not mine. My mother and sister are on their side. Some years ago, I dated a girl. The relationship was bad. She was very controlling and abusive. It ended up really bad, and we broke up. I kept going on with my life, and after some years I got a decent job, enough to solve all my needs, have a comfortable life, and make some savings. The thing is, a couple months after getting my job, my ex contacted me. She first asked me to talk. I believed that she may want to be recognized or something, but she showed up with a 5-year-old child, claiming he was my son and demanding child support. I didn't believe her, but the child's age matched the time since we cut contact. I got advice from a lawyer, a friend of mine, to try to solve this out of court. I offered to take responsibility, pay all the costs, and be an active part of the kid's life, but only after making a DNA test. Everyone was okay with this except for my ex. She acted offended and demanded to just give her the money she deserved. She used all the excuses she could. She even contacted my family to tell them I was trying to avoid taking responsibility for her child. When she ran out of excuses, the DNA test was finally made, and surprise, I'm not the father. She was so mad with the result and cried about the money, saying it was unfair and she deserved it. But she didn't accomplish anything. Moving on to the last week, there was a little party at my parents' house. My brother, a friend, and I were talking, and my brother started to joke about the situation with my ex. My friend and I started to joke about it too. Some of our comments were a little dark and bad, but we were far away from the rest of the people literally. We were on the opposite side of the house, and nobody else could hear us. At least that was what we thought. We were laughing like crazies when my sister appeared very angry and pushed me against the wall. She spied us and heard our conversation, and she was really mad. She started to yell at us about how horrible people we were for mocking a poor woman. A few hours later, when the party ended, she asked me to go to the kitchen with our parents, and she started to say how awful I was for the previous situation. Apparently, my ex had been in contact with her, and she believed her version, and that was her way to have an intervention. My brother and I were like, "Are you serious?" When she started to say how I forced my ex into being a single mother, and that I have the moral obligation to help her. My dad only said that we were maybe being too cruel and making jokes about her, but that I wasn't responsible for that kid. My mom then surprised all of us when she said, "Even if the kid is not yours, you are making more than enough money to support that child. You should have helped her." Since then, I have been receiving texts. My dad and my brother are on my side, saying I am not responsible for her. But my sister is telling me how horrible I am for ruining their lives. My mom only said, "It's your desire, and I respect it. I'm just very disappointed that you ended up being so selfish." I'm aware that she doesn't deserve my money, and I'm not planning to give her any. But the constant harassment of my sister trying to guilt me is just exhausting. Update. It's been a while. After my last post, I read all the comments and decided to show them to my mother. We had a talk about the situation. Again, she started on my ex's side. But after reading the post and all the comments and opinions, she realized she was wrong. I think the thing that hurt her the most was all the doubts about whether she cheated on my dad, and I wasn't his son, and if that was the reason she was on her side. We had a very long conversation. She told me that she believed my ex because she was always so nice and kind with her that she decided not to believe me when I told her all the things she did to me during the relationship. Because a good girl like her could never do something like that, so I must be lying. After that, she apologized to me. We are good now. On the other side, my sister. At first, she decided that she wouldn't talk to me until I'll take responsibility. But after some days, I talked with her. She is totally on her side. Even after showing her everything, she said that none of that matters because a woman's word goes first, and that's all the proof anyone could need. Also, she said that even if you are not the biological father, you have an emotional responsibility to her, so you must be man enough to take charge of them and start acting like a real man. She was a lost cause. About my ex. I did some research, and I found out that, shortly after we broke up, she started dating another guy, or maybe she was cheating on me with him before. I'm not sure. They broke up some weeks later, and she had multiple dates until she found out she was pregnant. I also found that she had been trying to find a father for her kid for the last 2 years, and I was the next on the list. But it looks like she is desperate now because she was never that aggressive with any other one before. Now, the reason for this post. Some days ago, my ex and my sister came to my workplace. They made a big sign with my face that says, "He abandoned his child," and "irresponsible father," and started a drama, saying all their bullshit. Their intention was to shame me and use the social pressure to force me to take charge of them. They literally said it. To not make the story too long, they were taken out of the place. I got problems for that scandal, and even after showing all the proofs and legal documents that showed they were lying, I was convinced that this better never happen again or I'll be fired. After that, I contacted my friend, the lawyer, and we are now redacting a very long, detailed paper against them, my ex and my sister too. They were too far. Now I'm going against them with everything. Maybe that scares them enough to leave me alone. Update 2. Hi everyone, and sorry for the lack of news. Last week was crazy with a lot of stuff. But I think now is a good moment to update you all. First of all, I'm not allowed to talk a lot about the lawsuit. The most I can share with you is that my ex was extremely freaked out when she knew about it. She is now begging to drop it. She offered to take back everything she said and to never bother or even contact me again. She even tried to guilt me, saying that I would be ruining her and her son's lives. But honestly, I don't care. I got tired of being the good guy a long time ago. She messed with me, and now I'm figuring it back out. And for my sister, the lawsuit at first only made her worse. As her attempt to shame me in my job didn't work as well as she wanted, she moved it to social media, spreading her BS about me abandoning my child or not taking responsibility and exposing my legal actions like acts of censorship and misogyny. But in the end, that will be the worst for her, not only because I can dismiss her defamation easily, but also because there is more evidence in our favor. Anyway, this is going to be a long road, and we are just beginning. Recently, we had a posada at my parents' home. Every year, we use this excuse to make a big family party before Christmas. I had my doubts because I didn't want to be near my sister, but after some relatives assured me that she wouldn't be there, I decided to go. Big mistake. She was there. Mom decided that, despite everything that happened, I was taking all this too far, so she wanted all of us to meet to solve this problem as a family. I tried to get out of there the moment I realized what she intended, but some relatives tried to stop me while my mom cried that I needed to stop, that I was tearing apart the family, and that I needed to learn to forgive and let go. I realized that, despite everything, even knowing I was telling the truth, she was still on my sister's side. I got out there, saying to her that I'm not attending any family events again if she is there, and to never think about trying this BS again. At this point, almost all my family knows what she did. Some of them think my sister is crazy. Some others think she is crazy, but I'm taking it too far. A couple days ago, my mom invited me to spend Christmas with them. I didn't want to go after what she did, but I decided to give her a chance after she swore that wouldn't happen again. But not only had she planned to do it again, my brother warned me that this time she intended to lock me in until I forgive my sister and stop the nonsense. I called my mom and told her I knew, and that I was done with her and my sister. To not talk to me until she realized she supported the wrong person, and to apologize. I don't need to say how many times she tried to call me the following hours, or all the drama she made when I didn't show up for Christmas. But again, I'm tired of being the good guy. So, that's it for the moment. I hope all of you had a nice Christmas, and I wish you a happy and drama-free New Year. Update 3. Hi to all that are still here. It has been a while, more than a year, and I think now is a good time to give an update about everything that happened in my life during the last year. Lots of things happened, and lots of things changed. 1. The lawsuit. To be short, I won. We didn't get into a trial. Everything got solved in conciliation meetings. My lawyer's strategy was to add all the things we could think of, from the harassment and defamation to the attempts to put my job at risk, parental fraud, everything. The idea was to scare the SHT out of them. And if that didn't work, there would be lots of charges against my ex and my sister. My sister kept calling it a bluff and kept posting all her BS on social media, something she regrets now, as every single word she posted against me came back to bite her arse when it was used as proof. My ex took back everything she said, asking for my forgiveness after seeing that she would lose a lot. So she ended up accepting to compensate the damages off court and leaving my sister alone in a battle she started. When my sister realized how big things really were, that she was alone now, and she would lose, she freaked out, deleted every single post she made, and tried to pretend she never did what she did. But at that point we had all the backups, screenshots, and recordings we needed. On the last conciliation meeting, she broke down crying, begging me to forgive her and not make her this. But she did this to herself. She had multiple chances to stop, but she kept pushing and ended up facing the consequences of her own stupidity. She had to pay me a good amount, plus all the legal costs. My mother helped her to pay, but now she has a considerable debt. As my dad demanded, she paid them back over time. For a few months, she resented me for what I did, but we ended up talking and getting back on good terms. Our relationship is damaged but healing. She confessed to me that, at the beginning, She felt she was fighting for a good reason, for a cause she believed, to defend a poor woman in need. She believed she was doing the right thing, so she was sure she had to win in the end. Those ideas were supported by her friends. As she said, those girls were encouraging her to face me and make me fulfill my obligations, that she was fighting in the name of other women. And those ideas kept on her mind until things got too real, when she saw there was no way she would win. Then all those girls disappeared, my ex left her alone, and all the ones who gave her support wished her luck and went away. So she had no other choice but to surrender. So, that's how things ended with them. And for the ones who suspected, no, my sister and my ex weren't in a relationship. I don't know where my ex is, and I don't care. She paid and disappeared, and I hope to never see her again. Some people had told me I went too far with her. Even some called me a monster for ruining a single mother who was already in trouble, and some had said, I'm not loyal to my family, for taking this issue too far instead of solving it inside the family. At this point, I don't care anymore. 2. My mother. For the months the conciliation lasted, my mom went on my sister's side. Multiple times she tried to convince me to stop, from asking me to just let it go to trying to guilt me for everything she could think. She even threatened to disown me, saying she would not see me as a son anymore, to separate me from the family. But at the end, she couldn't, and she was and still is resentful. For all those months, and after all was over, I kept asking myself why she does this, why she just kept treating me like this, putting everyone's side except mine. So, after reading multiple people saying to do this, I finally got to do. 3. The DNA test. After talking about it with my brother and dad, they all agreed it was too rare that my mom acted like this. And because of everything my mom said and implied, my dad had more and more doubts, to the point he was sure she did something. After some beers, a very hard talk, some tears, and the promise that, no matter what the results say to me and my brother, he will always be our dad, we made the DNA test. Both of us are his sons. My dad was so relieved, but then very embarrassed for having doubts about his wife's loyalty. He felt very ashamed, so we ended up agreeing and apologizing to her for what we did. As I started to talk about the DNA test, I asked to be the first to talk and apologize to her. That night, all of us gathered at my dad's house. We sat around the table, and I started by recognizing all the fakes and tension we had over the months and apologizing for it, because, after all, she is my mother. But her behavior makes us all wonder, and have lots of doubts about why she was being like this, so I suggested we all go make a DNA test. After saying that, my mom went livid, and half a second later, her face went red. She got up from the chair and threw herself at me, pulling my hair, scratching and hitting me, and screaming, "Why did you do this? I hate you, and you had no right." My father and my brother separated her from me, and she immediately started to ask for forgiveness from my dad. My dad was surprised and furious when he told her that I was about to apologize to her because the results said we were his sons. Her face was a mix of fear and desperation. Her reaction told us everything. I never saw my dad so angry. She confessed that long ago she had an affair for a long time, until she got pregnant with me. She never knew if she got pregnant by my dad or by her lover, as they rarely used condoms, and she multiple times let him finish inside. All these years, she had doubts about who was my real father, and she intended to take this secret to the grave. But now she has exposed herself, and now it all makes sense. That was the reason she always treated me like this. That's why she always put everyone else's word before mine. Dad threw her away that night. And in very little time, all the family knew about it. We warned them in case she tried to say any lies, things that she hated, because she called us saying, we had no right to say anything. She is our mother, and we cannot say anything against her. 4. The aftermath. So, to conclude this craziness, I won a good amount of money. My brother is still my best friend. My relationship with my sister is damaged but healing, and she separates from her toxic and misandric friends. My ex is gone, I hope forever this time. Dad is hurt, and mom revealed herself to be a cheater, but they're not divorcing. She is back at my dad's home, but he hasn't forgiven her, and for what he said, he never will. But he doesn't want to get through a divorce or give her anything he has worked for. On his words, they're married, but they're not a couple, and she is now trying to earn my dad's forgiveness. And of course, my mom now openly hates me because, to her, I'm the cause of all her problems. In her words, if you had done what I said and taken charge of the kid, none of this would have happened. I hope you're happy now. And that's it. Sorry for the text wall. I hope you all had a good 2023, and I also wish you a good 2024. I will keep working, saving, and trying to build a life away from this madness. I'll probably cut contact with my mom, but I don't care at this point anymore. Edit. Thanks to all of you guys. I'm overwhelmed by the number of comments. I saw lots of you are kind of worried about some things I said. So for all that suggested therapy, yes, I'm already on it. I've been seeing a psychologist once a month since I learned about my mom's cheating. It had been helping a lot. For the ones who are worried, I'm not going to start hating women from now on. I'm aware not all women are this bad. I'm outside, and there are lots of awesome and amazing ones. But after all, it's hard for me to trust anyone, not just women. About my dad, me and my brother tried to convince him multiple times to go for a divorce. But he made his choice, and God knows he will stick to it. Even after we promised to help him in case he ends up losing too much, there is no way to make him change his mind. My relationship with my mother is in the worst state ever. I'm considering it lost. After knowing the truth and over therapy, lots of things started to make sense, like how all my life she put everyone's other words before mine, or how she always used to put herself on everyone's sides except mine, knowing that she always resents me, and that all the efforts I made in my childhood were a waste hurts. I'm not planning on having a relationship with her anymore. Thank you for watching the video. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.